I'm going to call the City Council caucus meeting to order for May 11th, 2015. The first item we are going to hold for 2 weeks, pending a little bit more discussion on a possible amendment. So if the clerk would read item number 2.
Item number 2 under original consideration, a resolution authorizing Commissioner of Finance to deposit and increase the capital budget code HY 417083-201-023 that has been designated specifically for the CHIPS and EWR fund by the amount of $1,303,309.40.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 3.
Item number 3, a resolution adopting the 2015-2019 Consolidated Plan, including the 2015-2016 Consolidated Plan Action Plan.
Also discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 4.
Item number 4, a resolution authorizing the issuance of revocable permit number 592 to Flowers by Joanne for a sign on the front of the building located at 1613 Union Street, Schenectady, New York.
Also discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 5.
Item number 5, a resolution authorizing the sale of 1819 Guilderland Avenue.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 6.
Item number 6, a resolution authorizing the sale of 35 Waldorf Place.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 7.
Item number 7, a resolution authorizing the sale of 1224 Crane Street.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 8.
Item number 8, a resolution authorizing the sale of 1214 Chrysler Avenue.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 9.
Item number 9, a resolution authorizing the City of Schenectady to settle a tax certiorari case for 401 State Street.
Discussed in claims without objection on consent. Item number 10.
Item number 10, a resolution authorizing the City of Schenectady to settle a tax certiorari case for 1541 Union Street.
Also discussed in claims without objection on consent. Item number 11.
Item number 11, a resolution authorizing the City of Schenectady to settle a tax certiorari case for 1100 Knott Street.
Also discussed in claims without objection on consent. Item number 12.
Item number 12, a resolution honoring the 2015 Schenectady Women of Distinction.
This will be taken out of order. Ms. Porterfield will present that. Item number 13.
Item number 13, under contract and supply, a resolution awarding a contract for the purchase of sodium hypochlorite bulk liquid chlorine for the 2015 pool season to Surpass Chemical Company, Inc., in the amount of $19,032.00.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 14.
Item number 14, a resolution awarding the bid and contract for the hot in-place asphalt recycling pursuant to the countywide bid to Highway Rehabilitation Corporation.
Also discussed in committee without objection on consent. Item number 15.
Item number 15, a resolution awarding the bid and contract for the City of Schenectady Police Station roof replacement to Mid-State Industries, Ltd.
Discussed in committee without objection on consent. And item number 16.
Item number 16, under original consideration, a resolution authorizing the sale of 2040 Van Franken Avenue.
This was discussed in committee this evening without objection on consent. If there's nothing else to come before the City Council caucus, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Kosher, seconded by Mr. Riggi. All in favor? Aye. will now call the City Council meeting to order for Monday, May 11th, 2015, and ask you to rise for the invocation by Pandit Vishnu Dutt Prasad.
Namaste and greetings to the Honorable Mayor, the City Council members, to the citizens of Schenectady from the Hindu community. My prayer tonight would first be in English and followed by the Sanskrit version taken from Vedas, which is the Hindu Bible. Let us all pray. O God, O Creator of this universe, the radiant cause of all manifestations, as the Honorable Mayor and City Council members open their session tonight to discuss the affairs of Schenectady, and as they listen and acknowledge the citizens' complaint, we pray, O Lord, do remove whatever impediments they may face or experience in their deliberations to find solutions, and bestow upon them the knowledge and the power to discriminate the right from the wrong, so that they be blessed to make the right decisions, which would be in the best interests of Schenectady and its citizens. Om Vishwani Deva Savitar Duritani Padasuva Yad Bhadram Tarna Asuva Om Bhur Bhuvaswaha Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May peace be with the Honorable Mayor, City Council members, and the citizens of Schenectady, and by and large, the United States of America. Thank you, namaste, and good night.
I'll ask Marva Isaacs to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If the clerk would call the roll.
Ms. Perazzo. Ms. Porterfield. Mr. Ferrari. Mr. Kozier. Mr. Riggi. Mr. Mudavaren is excused. Ms. King.
Present. All right, we have one out-of-order resolution, and that is honoring the women of distinction. Ms. Porterfield.
Thank you. Would the women that are here for the 2015 Women of Distinction please come forward? I'm going to set these in. Okay. Thank you. Hello. How are you? Madam President.
You have the floor.
Thank you. Before I read the resolution, I just want to give a little background for those who don't know how the Women of Distinction came about. Assemblyman Santa Barbara, this is his second year that he decided to do something called the Women of Distinction. So women throughout the region that he represents, he sent out, a request for nominations. And so 6 women were nominated. 4 of them, though, lived or worked within Schenectady County. So tonight we also want to offer our congratulations to these women who live and work within our community. A resolution honoring the 2015 Women of Distinction. Whereas the City of Schenectady supports Assemblyman Angelo Santa Barbara in his ongoing effort to pay tribute to exceptional women who work and live in our region. And whereas on April 27, 2015, local women were nominated by the members of the community for their commitment to a diverse collection of fields, including community involvement, business, nonprofit leadership, public service, and education. And whereas Adine Viscusi, Cora Schroeder, Jamaica Miles, and Marva Isaacs live and or work in the city or county of Schenectady. And whereas Adine Viscusi, owner of Casa Visco Finer Foods, has supported the Regional Food Bank, serving on their annual gala committee for 10 years, while also supporting the Double H Ranch, Humane Society, and Planned Parenthood. And whereas Cora Schroeder works as constituent representative for Congressman Paul Tonko, while serving as a board member of Planned Parenthood, Community Fathers of Schenectady, NAACP of Saratoga, Northern Rivers/Northeast Parent and Child Society, Hamilton Hill Art Center, YMCA Black and Latino Achievers Program, and she has also served as a volunteer at the Bethesda House City Mission and as a tutor for English as a second language for the New York State Literacy Program. And whereas Jamaica Miles works as a development coordinator for Girls Incorporated and has volunteered with the Schenectady City School District since 2001 and has served as board member with Citizen Action. And whereas Marva Isaacs currently serves as board member to the Hamilton Hill Art Center and Schenectady Municipal Housing Authority and is an active member of Schenectady United Neighborhoods and the president of Hamilton Hill Neighborhood Association. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Mayor Gary R. McCarthy and the Schenectady City Council also recognize Adine Viscusi, Cora Schroeder, Jamaica Miles, and Marva Isaacs as the 2015 Schenectady Women of Distinction for the exceptional commitment to our community. Madam President, I'd like to move the resolution.
All right, seconded by Ms. Perazzo. All in favor? Aye. Congratulations.
Would you like to say something? Anybody?
I would like to thank the mayor, the president, and all that take part in this, Marion Porterfield, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for this recognition. We appreciate the Schenectady City Council's recognition of this. And you know, I love Schenectady, so I'm super proud to be part of it. And I love when Schenectady calls out one of their own. So thank you very much.
I don't think we can say thank you enough, so thank you. Thank you to everyone. For anyone that doesn't know, born and raised in Schenectady, as were those two little ones back there. We're not going anywhere. We're happy to be here and look forward to the work that we're able to continue to do in our community.
Again, congratulations and thank you for all you do. All right, we have no public hearings, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of April 27th, 2015. Mr. Kosher, seconded by Mr. Riggi. All in favor? Aye. Communications and petitions.
Communications presented to the City Council for Monday, May 11, 2015. Under official, from the mayor, a list of appointments dated May 11, 2015. A letter from Christopher Wallen, City Engineer, dated April 13, 2015, recommending the contract for the hot in-place asphalt recycling be awarded to Highway Rehabilitation Corporation. A letter from Christopher Wallen, City Engineer, dated April 13, 2015, recommending the contract for the City of Schenectady Police Station roof replacement be awarded to Mid-State Industries, Ltd. A letter from Jeremy Howard, dated May 2, 2015, recommending the contract for the liquid chlorine for the 2015 pool season be awarded to Surpass Chemical Company. Under general, there are none. Under petitions, there are none.
Thank you. Do we have any committee reports? Ms. Perazzo.
The Finance Committee actually is moving to approve the CHIPS funding, which is good news for everyone because it's paving. It helps us pave our streets. So a good little bit of news after this difficult winter, because I know everyone has had to be patient with the way the terrible winter we had impacted our streets. So something to look forward to.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone else? All right, then we will move on to privilege of the floor related to the legislative agenda. I have 4 people signed up to speak. The first is Steve Markham.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Steve Markham, and I am a member of SLIC, Schenectady Landlords Influencing Change. According to the latest draft of the Housing Standards Review Board, Section 68-10 powers regarding the view of complaints, and I quote, "Any complaint about a specific incident shall not be reviewed by the board until any prosecution or other legal action taken on behalf of the City of Schenectady is deemed final and complete by the Corporation Council." Therein lies our problem. From its onset, we understood the ultimate purpose of the review board was to hear and evaluate cases of violation upon request before they went to court, trial, and prosecution. We do not, prosecution. We're not criminals. Most of us are just law-abiding citizens trying to live a decent life and hope to be treated as such. It would seem that notices from code are issued with the goal of getting problems resolved. We would expect owners to comply with reasonable remediation demands and schedules, and we emphasize that we would not be asking the board to stall or mediate violations regarding serious health or safety issues. We realize that the expense of repairs can be burdensome, but unavoidable. However, if it were felt that fines or fees accompanying a violation or aspects of the violation itself are excessive, this would justify a request for a hearing by the neutral review board. We are concerned that we don't see specific guidelines for the board to follow. We have questions. Will they have to reinvent the wheel? Is it expected that they design and determine their own format or function? How often do they meet, or will it be as needed? How is the hearing process made known and applied for? Will it be an application that requires acceptance in order to schedule a hearing? What determines which cases are eligible for review, and what will be required for deliberation? We feel the redesigning of this review board still needs work and further development substance in order to provide an effective mechanism for its intended purpose. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chris Morris.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Chris Morris, and I'm the Director of SLIC. At this time, we are aware of a certain case involving a vacant house registry violation amounting to $11,000 based primarily on a technicality. Upon notification in February, the owners took immediate steps to clear up the code's issues. Here we are 3 months later after numerous interactions with code and the completion of some required minor repairs. This case still drags on. Circumstances along the way gave cause for frustration and upset, with no final outcome regarding an anticipated reduction in this excessive fine owed. Recently, the owners were informed that their situation not only hasn't been resolved by code, but has been passed on to the law department. A conference is finally scheduled. Eventually, they hope to find a resolution that makes some kind of sense. Their situation needs to come to an end. Perhaps the Housing Review Board, as we envision it, would have been the answer. Again, we address the prospect of a SLIC candidate for the Housing Standards Review Board, who we feel is amply qualified to contribute both 25 years of experience in the rental business and knowledge and credentials in construction, repair, and home improvement. This candidate offers common sense and good basic reasoning, along with a professional aptitude and a willingness to donate the necessary personal time to the review board process. It should be noted, however, that there is some skepticism expressed regarding the actual functionality and effectiveness of the board should it be implemented without establishing specific guidelines of operation and purpose. We also feel that it should focus on mediation and fairness. Given the dramatic changes we've seen in code procedures and enforcement in these recent years, including the increased levying of fees and fines, we do feel that there would be benefit in having a review board to provide an unbiased assessment on an individual basis, but only if it is given the ability and the provisions to actually make a significant difference. We do thank the Council for its work and attention to this review board reinstatement, but we urge you to continue developing its structure and purpose. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason Plank.
Madam President, City Council, Mayor. Item number 9, it's a tax surety case for 401 State Street. Most people don't recognize this, that this is our major developer that owns this property. He also divided this property into 2 pieces of this building, one into the center city and this one off to the side. Not only did this property is being reduced from $2.89 million down to $2.3, this is totally wrong. This is in the heart of the downtown area. If you move from this person, also received a facade grant to do the front facade of this building. Received pilot program for this thing. In your filings in 2013, he only paid $64,000 in taxes and received $59,000 in gratis from the state, from the city taxpayers. Said that he created 23 jobs, never did create 23 jobs, never would have, because this was the Commission on Quality Care, which was a combined, which is now the Center for the Justice for the Disabled. If you move down from Center City, he received almost $2.5 million for Center City plus the facade grant. Move down a little further, he also owns the Clinton Street project, received over $1 million grant for that project. You move across the street, which is the Hampton Inn building, they're paying zero in property taxes and zero in pilot program. They're valued at $8 million. Move down, you've got the new building at 440. Move down, you got Proctor's, keep moving down. You've got the Schenectady Holdings, which is the cinema. They're paying in pilot nearly $46,000 and receiving nearly $118,000 tax-free from the taxpayers. That's a $13 million building. He owns the building across, which is now the Workman's Comp building. He got a free gratis from the city on the parking lot for $5 million so the people could park in that building. Move across, you've got the Mexican Radio City building. Then on top of it, because it's State Street, it's Interstate 5, the state will turn around and pay 80% of the parking lot of the road, which was already been paid for, and the taxpayers only have to come up with 20%. This is also in the Schenectady Business Improvement District, which means now he gets the sidewalks all paid for, snow plows, he gets flowers put up in the thing, nice little benches and everything else. This is all value to the building. So if you take that building and you move it 2 blocks over, it may not get that value because it doesn't have that State Street value of the interstate, and not also in the Business Improvement District. And for you guys to do this in executive committee and to say, you tell the lieutenant governor to come down and say, what a wonderful downtown and everything else, and now you're saying the property values are not there. I mean, this is a slap in the face of all the multi-millions of dollars that the taxpayers have given and no jobs. And, you know, we need to stop these tax priorities and start actually doing an actual assessment. Thank you.
Thank you. Mohammad Hafeez.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council members. My name is Mohammad Hafeez and I live in Schenectady. I'm here to voice my objection to this new version of the proposed Housing Standard Review Board. One of the original powers of the Housing Board was the following: to vary and modify the application of the law and the departmental rules and regulations related to the code enforcement of 2 of the chapters regarding housing issues in the City Code, Chapter 138 and Chapter 167. Chapter 167 was later changed to 210. That board power has changed to the following: the board will just receive comments from the public and make recommendation to the City Council and the Mayor. In addition, the original ordinance allowed the board to hear appeals filed by Schenectady homeowners and landlords which are subjected to the over-enforcement of the 2 chapters of the City Code. Just like the procedure that's being followed by the Assessment Review Board, the Housing Board was created to hear appeals. The reasoning was to implement a control approach to code enforcement and to prevent code officers from being overzealous in denying landlord rental certificate and or requiring unnecessary building permit. Code officers are now giving a carte blanche authority to conduct inspection and requiring permit without any type of safeguards. The appeal process was needed because the current enforcement procedure allows no avenue for appealing code officer arbitrary decision unless the case goes to court and through a costly and time-consuming appeal process. The board power has changed from hearing appeals to just reviewing complaint after the prosecution of the matter is deemed final and complete, which is so funny, it's ridiculous. After the whole matter was appealed through the court system, then, you know, the board will hear some comment. So we might as well have nothing. Providing an avenue to appeal and implementing a control approach to code enforcement were certainly the main powers provided to the board as the ordinance was originally written. These powers were taken away from in the new ordinance. To the property owners, to many of property owners and landlords in Schenectady, this is totally incomprehensible. In addition, these changes would certainly not encourage potential investment on home buyers to invest in Schenectady and move to the city, when all they hear about is an uncontrolled approach to code enforcement in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no one signed up for privilege of the floor related to the legislative agenda, so I'm going to declare that portion of the meeting closed. We will now move to a motion to approve the consent agenda. Mr. Riggi, seconded by Mr. Kosher. All in favor? Aye. All right. We'll now move to privilege of the floor regarding city business. I have 3 people signed up to speak. Anthony Mirada.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Madam President. Now I'd like to talk about an idea I had about curing the violence that's been plaguing the city for quite a while. First, I'd like to talk about how I came up with the idea. I just happened to watch last week a movie called The Most Violent Year, where it dealt with crime and violence in New York City year 1981. One of the special features of this movie dealt with an organization called Cure the Violence, where a medical doctor, along with a team of doctors, had looked at violence as a contagious disease. Now, we all know what happens when someone gets a contagious disease. They're contagious, and it spreads and spreads and spreads until they find a cure. Well, what these doctors did, they went to towns throughout the United States and the world, mainly Chicago, where they worked with the community officials like the council and the mayor, law enforcement. And in Chicago, when they initiated this thing about nonviolence to cure violence in the city, violent crime in the city of Chicago went down a mere 69%. Now I'm watching this thing, I'm like, wait a second. We've got violence galore that's been plaguing the city of Schenectady for quite a while. So I'm thinking, how can we initiate something like that in the city? Well, we've got organizations like SCAP, City Mission, and others who work with the community. So I'm thinking we get those organizations, the community, who's working with them, and we sit down, those organizations, the community, sit down with officials like this council and the mayor and law enforcement, and sit down and work out solutions or ideas to curb the violence. Because I have a very feeling that something that's been happening in Florida, Ferguson, New York City, and now Baltimore will happen in this city and this area if this idea of cure the violence does not happen now. Because the thing is, I mean, the facts are here. If this were to happen, crime would be down and people's safety and life would be a lot better off. If we initiate a sit-down with the organizations like SCAP, City Mission, with the officials and the law enforcement, like the police, the sheriffs, or FBI, or any type of law enforcement, sit down with the community and these organizations and try to come up with ideas to help cure the violence in the city. Because I believe if we did this, crime would be down. Thank you.
Thank you. Jason Plank.
Madam President, City Council, Mayor. Madam President, can you please ask the City Clerk to put the backup material for tonight's agenda and all the other night's agendas? When you go into executive session on the claims and then you come back out, none of us are here. That information now becomes open and to the public. Not what you've said in the executive session, but that information that you come out. And when you put it on the agenda tonight, all you'd say is a tax royalty for 401 State Street. It doesn't tell us how much the reduction is. We actually have to come down here and actually have to pull the sheet out and actually see what's going on. You know, I've asked this for several months and over the last year. We need to have this backup material to comply with the Open Public Meeting Law. I mean, that information is now available. Once you come out of executive session, now that becomes open. And once you made your decision and everything else is finalized, now it becomes public record. And we need to be able to have that. Most people don't even know who 401 State Street is, who even owns it, and doesn't even realize it's the major developer that has received multi-tens of millions of dollars of taxpayers' money. And you're giving a tax reduction in the downtown Schenectady area, and you're saying that the assessments in that area are not going to hold any water after you spent $30, $40 million in the downtown area. And some estimates, Ray Gillen's coming around saying we spent $800 million in downtown. And you're going to say that we have to lower the assessment on one building? That's totally wrong. You need to be able to be much more open, and I'm hoping that you'll be able to do it. On the community development block grants, I was really surprised, well, not really surprised, just wished you guys started to look at the jobs. I understand that B&I is great and everything else, but how can someone qualify for a home if they're making a minimum wage? The most they can qualify is a $40,000 mortgage. So putting more money into B&I to do more home counseling, how's that going to help somebody? We need to be able to give them good quality jobs. If they could be able to make $15, $20 an hour, then they can qualify for an $80,000, $90,000 mortgage. And then BII would have a whole lot of people lining up on the doorsteps. They're a great program. Ed Augustine has done wonders with that program and that thing over the last 20, 30 years. But we need the jobs component within the community development block grant, and it's not even there. It's just knee-jerking of programs, and that's all what it is. We have to be able to give somebody an opportunity for a job. And that's basically what we need to do, and we need to rework it. There are 2 public hearings that are required, and we're not even doing that. Thank you.
Thank you. Mohammad Hafeez.
It's a show of a few people here. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Council member again. My name is Mohammad Hafeez, and I live in the city. When we opposed, it's a casino issue again. When we opposed having a casino in Schenectady, we outlined negative impact a casino will create in the city. The obvious ones are crime, traffic, quality of life issues in general. Other communities have signed with casino owners what they call a host community benefits agreement before a casino was even built in their cities and before they even granted any permit or zoning law changes to casino developers. In Springfield, Massachusetts, the city signed an agreement with MGM Resort International that guarantees the city, prior to the opening of the project, a $15 million a year in payment. Following the opening of the casino, Springfield will get $25 million a year. The agreement outlines where the money would be spent. For example, property taxes. Well, I have enumerated. Property tax matter, which I think we have one issue here with property tax matter in Schenectady. Community impact payments, grants for golf course and parks, river park improvement, additional commitment like ongoing cost, entertainment, traffic, train station, trolley, skating rink, so anything the city asked for, and they allocated some money to it. Again, in the city of Brockport, Massachusetts, a 31-page agreement was just published last week by signed by Mr. Bloom, who is the same owner of the property being developed in Schenectady, or the casino being developed in Schenectady, Rush Street Gaming. A casino is, the details of the agreement was just published on May 4th and outlines the details of the payment to Brockport, including $3 million a year upfront payment and $10 million a year after the opening of the casino. The city of Philadelphia, again, another casino with Mr. Bloom develop from Rush Street Gaming, develop a casino there. The property, the agreement addressed the impact, the negative impact, and to maximize the benefit to the community. Again, payment will be made to address property tax issues with a minimum of $3.2 million a year. In addition, they created a special service district, consists of 4 neighborhoods adjacent to the casino. This group already received $1.17 million in funding, and it will increase to $1.5 million a year thereafter. The agreement also guarantees waterfront public access to the waterfront public access that the Schenectady gave away to the casino developer for free. I have 2 questions, and a whole bunch of other people will have the same questions. Where is the community benefit agreement that Schenectady signed with Rush Street Gaming? And the second question, if there is no such agreement at this point, is it too late to demand one from the development at this point? Thank you.
Thank you. Mary McLean.
Good evening. My remarks were prepared for the last meeting of 427, and it has to do with two items, absences and litter. Number one, absences. No one objects to city officials taking a vacation, but if individuals are absent from city council meetings and committee meetings because their primary jobs call them away, then they should not hold public office because they do not have the time for constituent service. Madam President, in the future, when you excuse your colleagues, will you please tell the voters why they are absent from here? Number two, litter. Who is responsible for cleaning the main streets of the city? I attend city council meetings and neighborhood meetings. I hear parks, parks, parks. Steinmetz Park is a beautiful place, but it is off the beaten path. Not too many people see it every day. On the other hand, when I drive to church on Easter Sunday and Eastern Avenue looks like a pigsty, I find such a situation problematic. State Street is deplorable. The litter accumulates and is left to sit on the ground day after day. Other main streets are just as bad. I realize that the slobs put the trash there, but the slobs cannot dictate how the rest of us should live. Therefore, someone has to clean up the mess after they make it. I know if I had one of your seats, the city would not look this filthy, even if it meant cleaning it up myself. That is the difference between what is and what could have been. Litter conditions have gotten out of control over the past 3.5 years. In my 37 years of involvement with the community, I have never seen as much trash on the city's main streets, especially the corner of Knott Street and Van Rankin Avenue. I am convinced that no one in this administration has the will to address the issue. Where is your plan to clean the city? The city tears down a building, leaves the trash, and calls it improvement. The city has a very dirty face. Please clean it up. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no one else signed up, so I'll declare that portion of the meeting closed. We'll move to miscellaneous business of the council. Mr. Riggi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to talk briefly on Mr. Plank's tax cert issues, when they come before us, tax certiorari's, we get a sheet and it tells us what the house is assessed at or the building is assessed at. Then we get a recommendation from our assessor's department. And I don't think any of us here have any expertise in assessing. So we take the word of our department that's in place to do this. Now, if we don't do it, it may sound good. We can say, okay, we're not going to go along with that. Then it goes to court. And we're told that we don't have a very good chance of winning some of these in court. So it's going to add to the cost when all's said and done. And the verdict could even be worse than it is now. So while it isn't pretty, we're granting these because it's the right thing to do. Some of the assessments have dropped in the city. We have a 23%, 123% equalization rate, so that tells you that. So to equalize this, this is the way the system works. It may not be palatable to everyone, but it's just the way it is. And again, we settle claims so they don't go to court when they become more costly. If it's a frivolous claim, then naturally we fight it. But if it isn't, if there's some validity, and we have our own Department of Assessment saying this is the figure that they put on this property, then we're kind of bound to go along with it, because I'm not one to argue with the Assessor's Department. I don't think anybody else here is either. So we're all on the same page with this, and I just wanted to explain that. I'd like to take note of the bravery that was shown at this Bradley Street fire from our public safety personnel, the police department and the fire department. There were some real heroic actions that went on there, and it should go with great notice that these people do put their lives on the line. There's no question when something like that happens. It's a tragedy. Yes, 2 lives were lost, but they did their darnest to try to save as many as they could. And it's really, when you think about it, that's saying a lot. And my hat goes off to our public safety personnel because they've been doing a great job with this J Street fire, with this Bradley Street fire. Hopefully, those things are past us for now. One announcement to make. The Bellevue Preservation Meeting is Thursday, May 14th, 7 p.m. at St. Paul's Episcopal Church, 911 Fairview Avenue. Guest speaker will be Fire Chief Ray Senecal. The Bellevue Flag Raising and Memorial Service will be held on Saturday, May 16th, 11 a.m. at George Washington and Bellevue Veterans Park, top of Broadway Hill and Guilderland Avenue. Anyone who has flags that need to be discarded may bring them to the service and they can be disposed of properly. The public is invited to both events. The Bellevue Neighborhood-wide garage sale will be held Saturday, June 6th and Sunday, June 7th. Applications are available for any Bellevue resident who wishes to participate by calling 374-0281. 374-0281. It's spring cleanup time, so I think it's a good time for people to get rid of a lot of the stuff. You know, your trash is somebody else's gold, so get it out there. You can make a few bucks and clean your cellars and garages out. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Porterfield.
Thank you. I'd also like to add my thanks to our public safety for all the things. I mean, we've just had a lot of tragedies lately in our city, and so they've just done an outstanding job, and I understand that that's what they get paid to do, but, you know, it's got to be trying, considering what we've been going through, so thank them again for their service. I'd also like to say thanks to everyone who participated in I Love Schenectady Parks Day. I think the mayor has a little bit more detail on that, but it was just a great effort, and people that were at the park where I was at Jerry Burrell, said they actually had a good time cleaning up and doing that. So we're going to try to schedule our park more regularly since they were having such a great time. So thanks to everyone that showed up for that. I'd like to announce that there's going to be a community meeting hosted by DePaul Properties, Schenectady County Community Action Program, and myself. And for this, in the Hamilton Hill neighborhood, they're talking about doing a $14 million investment for a housing project, a development of 50 new apartments. And so we're asking that folks come out this Tuesday, May 12th, tomorrow, from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at the Harmony Fellowship Church on Hamlin, and the corner of Hamlin and Albany Street, to hear about the project, to hear about the developers, and to voice their input and ask any questions that they may have. Folks have been talking a long time about there hasn't been a lot of development in that particular community, so it's starting to happen. So I'm asking that people come out and hear about it and support the effort, because this is pretty exciting. You know, it's revitalization. It's extremely exciting. We've been talking about the neighborhoods, and we hear about other parts of the city, and you know, it's starting to happen in Hamilton Hill, and people had a lot of questions about that. So here's your time to come and participate and support and hear what's going on. I'd also like to, we're coming up on Veterans Day, and every year there's a ceremony in Vale Park, and then after Vale Park it goes down to the Veterans Park. And along with that, this year there's going to be a memorial flag display. So people can purchase a flag it's $25, and they would purchase a flag, and that flag would have the name of the individual that they're buying it for, a person that was a veteran that is deceased, and their name would go on the flagpole, what branch of service that they served in, and their rank, and also where their tour of duty was. And that display will happen actually in Veterans Park when we get to Veterans Park. So there will be a form that will look like this that people can complete, come to the clerk's office, and do everything there, and they will be able to drop off their check or money order or cash at the clerk's office, and then the money will then be turned over to the Schenectady County Veterans Council. This is a collaborative effort with the City of Schenectady and the support of the Mayor's Office, Assemblyman Angelo Santa Barbara, the Schenectady County Veterans Council, and the Schenectady County Sheriff's Department. So if people want more information, they can send me an email or they can call me at 701-3078. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ms. Perazzo.
Yes, I just want to offer some kudos to my colleague John Ferrari. The Millennial Council, under Mr. Ferrari's leadership, had a mixer last week. I think it might have been the week before. Things have been busy lately. And it was a great turnout, a wonderful event. They're well organized into subcommittees with chairs, but what stuck out the most to me was it was professional after professional, all part of the Millennial Council, that stood up to the microphone and said how energized they were by our city, how excited they were by Schenectady, and how proud they are of Schenectady. And to see our next generation of professionals be so enthusiastic about the city that I love, I left with a great feeling and just renewed my energy to keep going forward. So congratulations to the Millennial Council for getting off to a great start, and I'm really interested to see where they go.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Ferrari.
I just wanted to invite everyone on Friday at 11 a.m. in Veterans Park for the unveiling of our Hometown Heroes banner program sponsored by the DSIC, and just want everybody to be there at 11. We have a couple surprise events that are going to be occurring that morning. I think we have a singer there, but you never know. So please free up your Friday at 11. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kosher.
Thank you. And I, too, would just like to thank our fellow council members here for working on the CDBG grant, the application pieces and our funding. I think it was a great conversation we had last Monday in meeting. And it was great to see the young men and women come to the rail the Monday previous to speak on behalf of their organizations. And I'm really talking about the Schenectady Youth Boxing and the Schenectady Basketball. I had the privilege of going to the Schenectady Boxing group on Watt Street last week, and saw firsthand they had well over 30 to 40 kids there participating in the workshop there with Vince and some other mentors there, and really appreciative of what that group is doing with some great young men and women in the city. And I appreciate my colleagues for supporting both that organization and, of course, the Schenectady basketball as well. With that, just one other quick piece regarding the Hillhurst-Steinmetz funding and that program there. Again, we talked about, we did surveys a couple times during the summer, and one of the concerns of the Bellevue community was the lack of swimming opportunities on Saturday, and we were proud to include that in our CDBG application this year. And so starting on Saturday, July 11th, the Boys and Girls Club will have the Hillhurst pool open on Saturdays as well, so it'll be a Monday through Saturday program, being closed on Sunday, and we're looking forward to some more family and interactive programming going on out there for the Bellevue community, and I think it's well deserved, and I know they'll be appreciative and supportive of that. The Woodlawn Neighborhood Garage Sale's coming up this weekend, and I know my friend there, Chad, is jotting it down, and a little plug there for the Woodlawn Park as well. That'll be having their big garage sale in conjunction with that. They're right on Kings Road, and again, it's this coming Saturday and Sunday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. There'll be maps available at the Sunoco station on Albany Street, also at the park, and also at Grassel's Barbershop. In addition to that, it's also Niska Day. Give a little plug for them as well. So you go see the parade at 10 o'clock in the morning. Come to the Woodlawn neighborhood for their neighbor association. And then in conjunction, we're also working with the Highbridge community in Rotterdam. For the first time, they're actually having their neighborhood garage sale in conjunction with us. So it should be a great weekend, and hopefully the weather will be very cooperative, and I'm sure it will be. Sorry I missed the announcement this morning with the mayor and the code enforcement and everybody. But I just, on behalf of the Woodlawn community, I want to thank the mayor and code enforcement and SNAP and the law office for coming to a very beat-up property on Council Road in our Woodlawn area. There's been some major concerns from our neighbors for a long time, and it was cleaned up by the SNAP crews and code enforcement and Schenectady PD and again our law offices. But again, the neighbors are very appreciative of that coming down, and again I think it's just a good way of seeing the city and all our agencies working together for the good cause, and again to cleaning up some of that blight that was quite obvious in that area. Reminder, the school budget vote is next Tuesday, May 19th, Board of Education. There's 2 seats available. There are only 2 candidates, so I guess both of those will win rather easily. But again, the school budget vote is very important. Please support our youth and the school districts in the city. They've done a good job with the budget this year, as have our state assemblyman and senator. They've come through with some additional funding from the governor's office, and we want to thank both Assemblyman Steck and Santa Barbara for the support for our children. But again, it's next Tuesday from noon until 9 p.m. And finally, our last day for our summer youth employment applications is tomorrow. So those teens ages 14 to 21 who have not gotten their applications in, you can access the application online at SchenectadyCounty.com. And again, it's a lottery system, but we have approximately 330 positions open for our teens this year, and to encourage our businesses to participate in our buy one, get one free. We're up to about almost 30 positions right now from local businesses, so that's going to be a nice enhancement for our program. And again, anybody who's interested, perhaps Ferrari's Restaurant or Ferrari's Funeral Home or Ferrari's Tax, whatever else you got there, John, we certainly appreciate the support for our youth and our programs. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to just correct a couple points that somewhat incorrect at the rail tonight. The Hampton Inn, which said pays $0, I think they pay approximately $170,000 on that hotel. The host benefit fees for casinos, it's comparing apples and oranges. In Massachusetts, the communities were given the designation for the casino, and then the individual communities got to negotiate the host benefit fees. In New York State, those fees are set by statute and set as a function of revenue. The casino in Schenectady, they had to pay $1 million to make their initial application. When the background checks are complete and they're given the final authorization to start construction, they will have to write a check to the state of New York for $50 million. And then the city of Schenectady on the projected revenue will get $4.1 million in benefits, and Schenectady County would receive an equal amount. So that's, again, that'll vary depending on what the actual revenue is, but that's $8.2 million a year, which I think far exceeds any of the things that were outlined at the rail tonight. But again, it's a distortion and really incorrect to say that there was ability for us to negotiate host benefit fees. And we look forward to working with them as they develop that site and we continue to do things downtown and improve our neighborhoods. The opportunity to welcome Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul was in town last week, had a brief tour of some of the businesses downtown. Dr. Steady Muno is taking over as president of Schenectady County Community College. We look forward to our continued relationship with the college and thank Martha Aslan for the work that she did as interim president. Last weekend we had the parks cleanup. Again, there were over 100 volunteers that came out, I think over 15 different organizations. Waste Department tells me we collected a little over 1.2 tons of debris that came out of the parks. So it had a big impact, and I want to thank the council for their assistance, the staff, and just the community for making that such a big success. Thank you, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. If there's nothing else to come before the City Council, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Riggi, seconded by Mr. Kosher. All in favor? We are adjourned.